Welcome to another episode of Help Nobody Told Me. I'm Jasmine Shapiro. I am a realtor here in the North Shore with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Here with my co-host, Jordan Kagan, the man of silver.
Thank you, Jasmine. Welcome, everybody, to another great episode. We have an amazing guest today. Her name is Wendy Singer. She is executive director of an organization where a lot of people don't necessarily want to talk about mental health and or mental illness. And I think it's come a long way where we're starting to be able to have a dialogue about it. But I still also think we have a long way to go. So my first involvement with No Shame on You, I think, happened about a decade ago. And it's been very passionate to me ever since. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We still are here in winter. I know, and we were hoping to get you on the, about a month ago, and just didn't work out timing with
But
their
we're
executive
happy you're here
dinner.
today.
But one of my thoughts is, seasonal affective disorder winters in Chicago go hand in hand. A lot of people have the winter blues. But some people are just year-round. They're depressed or unhappy or their loved one. So first,
we would love to hear from you, though.
Yes.
Like, how did you get into this?
So it's a story. It's a story that
Good.
turns into a good story.
Oh, I love it.
So in 2014, I'll start with this. I was in a fellowship. I worked for a community center, a local Chicago community center, and I was a summer camp director, which I loved, and I was going to do it forever. And I was launching an overnight camp program, and I was in a fellowship where it was a social entrepreneurship fellowship, and nonprofits that wanted to launch were there, and internal community organizations and my organization, and we had a cohort of about 12 different nonprofits and organizations that were a part of this. And I met an incredible woman. Her name is Miriam Ament, and she wanted to start an organization that worked to reduce stigma surrounding mental health challenges. And she was just the most loving, warm, wonderful human, and she was open about her story of having pretty intense depression and anxiety in her 20s and 30s growing up. And she felt like often she was misunderstood, and that people in her circles didn't really know how to communicate with her, how to handle it. They were afraid of it. There was a lot of stigma, which is the negative connotations that go along with something. And she had a dream, and she said, I'm going to do this. And she took a leap in 2014, and she launched No Shame on You. And I still remember her in the program and just loving her. And from that moment, I started supporting No Shame on You. I would go to the programs. I would partner with her on different projects with the community centers and all those things. And we stayed in touch. And fast forward to about now 5 years ago, COVID hit, maybe 5 years ago. And in my own family, I had 2 kids at the time. I still have 2 kids. Now they're 16 and 13, but at the time they were 11 and 7. And my daughter, Josie, one of my daughters had a full-blown mental health crisis. She always was an anxious kid. It runs in our family. We have a genetic component to mental health challenges in my family. So what COVID sort of, I mentioned I'm a retired camp director, so I always think of campfires. We all have certain embers that glow in a campfire. And COVID was like pouring gasoline on it, and it really exploded. And
for so many people.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yes.
And it ratcheted up my own anxiety. That came back. I was having panic attacks, worrying about her. She wasn't sleeping. I wasn't sleeping. It was terrible. And she ended up needing intensive treatment. And I felt really, really alone. And even though I'm a real extrovert and I'm connected and I run summer camps with tons of families, I didn't know anybody who had to take their kid to the hospital. I really didn't. And but I quickly found people that it was unbelievable. They started coming out of the woodwork, colleagues and neighbors and friends from high school, and everyone.
People don't talk about it, right?
No one talks about it.
Right.
And as soon as I could connect with these other parents, I felt just relieved and grateful to be. I'm a talker, and so I felt really like so much better, and I realized I wasn't alone. So as soon as we got on more stable footing, and thank goodness, the good news is my daughter is doing well and thriving and found the right therapies and medications and whatever is working for her, which is great. But I had an idea, and I was like, I need to talk to Miriam. And I asked her if she would go to coffee with me. And I said, listen, I want to volunteer for No Shame on You. I went through this really awful, ridiculous, most stressful, dark time in our lives, and it was scary, and I was desperate to talk to people, and I found the people. So if you ever, at No Shame on You, need a relatively level-headed mom who's not a mental health clinician to talk to other parents or family members, or even about my own generalized anxiety disorder, I'm an open book, and I'm here to talk about it. And she said to me at that meeting, really, I still remember it. I remember where we were sitting, what coffee shop, what water bottle she had. And she said, Wendy, I'm so sorry for what you and your family have been through. Pause. I want you to come work for No Shame on You. And it was just a moment.
And what was your reaction when she said that? Because you loved what you were doing prior, right?
I ended up stepping back from my job because there's a little more to the story, but we only have a limited amount of time. But I had to stop working when Josie went through that crisis.
Yes.
Because we couldn't balance it all, and she needed intensive parenting. And I wasn't very balanced in my whole life. I'm a career woman. I'm very driven, and I had to full on stop to take care of her during that time. So I was also very anxious at the time personally, because I was like, what am I going to do in my life that I'm equally passionate about? And then this moment happened, and she said to me, we're hiring a fundraiser. Are you interested in that? And I said, actually, no way. I never want to be a fundraiser. I'm with the people. I build programs and partnerships. And she came back to me a few days later, and she said, I spoke to the board. We have a long relationship, Wendy. We were in a cohort together where I know you're how you work, and I want you, and let's change it up. And she hired me as the director of programming. And so out of a really the worst time in our lives came something that I'm so deeply passionate about, and I'm able to help make a little bit of a difference, I hope.
Can you clarify what the purpose or mission of No Shame on You is?
Yes. So our mission is to reshape attitudes, elevate conversations, and disarm stigma surrounding mental health challenges, supporting young people. That's 11 to 25-year-olds. So specifically, we do work in that area, but also we support those who care about them. So parents like me, friends, coaches, teachers, educators, relatives. So we work really with all ages, but our focus is supporting young people. And we achieve our mission through all sorts of programming. We work with we go into schools, private schools, public schools, to give mental health workshops on a variety of different topics, ranging from how language can help shape mental health stigma in a positive or negative way. Yesterday, I went to a CPS school on the south side, and we had 5 back-to-back sessions on how to support a friend who was struggling. And another really popular one is resiliency for everyday living and traumatic events. And it's awesome because we go all around the city working with young people directly, and because of my passion for developing young people, it's just a complete treasure to me. I'm so lucky. I have the best job on earth. I really feel it. We also create free resources that we have online on all sorts of different topics. Our most viral one actually came out of my experience when I took my daughter to the hospital. It actually was Evanston Hospital, which, you know, I like as soon as I got there, I felt like, oh my gosh, someone's going to help us. And I said, do you have any resources? Is there anything I could read? And there was nothing to read. And we got locked in there for a couple days, and it was not good. So months later, when I started working for No Shame on You, on the first day, Miriam said, so what do you have in mind? What do you want to do? And I said, Miriam, can we make a guide that is like a roadmap for families who are going through this, where we can tell them what to expect and all these things, because we didn't have it. And she said, go for it. And we did. And so that's free and online.
Did you go to Evanston Hospital and give it to them?
I did. I called the supervisor, and she was amazing.
Oh, good.
And she was so happy that we were able to do that. And they use it now, hopefully.
It's probably so rewarding to you.
I'm so happy. We've had close to 4,000 downloads of that guide.
Wow.
All across the nation. So it's that we specifically didn't want to make it specific to Chicagoland, because I just wanted we wanted to help as many humans as possible.
So No Shame on You, is it local only, or is it?
So we are a local organization, but we have been able, like everybody, to shift a lot of programming virtually, which allows us to expand our reach and impact. So people will come to programs from all over the country, and sometimes different countries.
So speaking about international or outside Chicagoland, am I correct if I go to Boston Logan International Airport, I just might see the founder
Yes.
of No Shame on You's photo
Yes.
at the airport?
Absolutely. That was before I came. She was part of a project through, I believe, McLean Hospital, which is one of the top mental health research hospitals in the country, and she shared her story and is on these different billboards in the community. It's awesome.
So do schools or different organizations have to reach out to you? Like, how do you connect with the various groups that you want to go and make impact? Yeah.
So schools definitely do reach out to us, but we also have, you know, as we continue, we have gained a reputation, so people will call us for different schools in the area. But the most recent partnership has been fantastic. We've partnered with Communities in Schools Chicago, which is a national organization, but they have a Chicago-based office that partners with nonprofit organizations to give resources to underserved communities and schools. So that has been an amazing partnership, and we signed up, and we go into schools every single month. The demand is more than we can do, so I'm always looking for funding, and we just received an awesome grant where we can double that. So I'm really, really, really happy about that.
That's great.
Amazing.
And we also have a teen leadership board that is the best, where teens come from all across the Chicagoland area to learn about trends in mental health, to learn about possibly if they want to have a career in mental health, learning about inequities in mental health between rural and urban areas, and all sorts of things. And they culminate the year with a teen-led mental health program, and they bring all their friends in. So we are developing the future to be open-minded about mental health and the future.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions you have experienced when it comes to mental health?
Well, with kids that we work with that are in middle school per se, they see what is perceived in the media as mental health, and so people will say that people with mental health struggles are violent, when research shows that really the majority of people who do have struggles with mental health, serious mental health disorders, are more victims than perpetrating the violence themselves. In a lot of the communities that we serve, it's a sign of weakness to talk about feelings and all of that kind of thing, where we at No Shame on You believe it's a sign of strength to ask for help, and we're all vulnerable. There's actually one statistic that I share at almost every single workshop that we give that blew me away when I joined No Shame on You, and my awesome colleague psychologist, Dr. Anakgeva, gave me this statistic, and it blew me away. There was a Harvard research study that shared in recent years, you can Google it, that 50% of people on this planet will experience a mental health disorder at some point in their lifetime. And to me, that was just shocking, because when I'm with a group of kids, I say, that means that half of you or yourself or somebody you love or someone you sit next to at lunch or the mailman or whoever it is are going to struggle. So this is such an important topic. So it's either going to be you or somebody who can help you or who needs support.
So what about adults? So you said you primarily work with a population up to age 25, is that right? Mm-hmm. And then their family members.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Okay, so do you ever have situations where like the parents or family members are in denial or don't want to get on board with what you are counseling?
1,000,000,000%. I mean, we have people who will we do run a couple support groups and programming, and they will put their name in anonymously. They'll keep their screens off on programs. They'll say, I need some resources, but keep this completely, I don't want you to know my last name. So there still is, I think we have, like you said in the beginning, Jordan, come a long way.
Yeah.
But there's still very much a long way to go.
And are there different times of the year where it's worse or better? Like I know you mentioned the seasonal affect disorder. I mean, is it worse in the winter time? Do you find that you
I'm not a mental health clinician, but I've asked the same question.
Okay.
And sometimes people have told me that it can be worse in the winter months for people who already have mental health challenges, that it might exacerbate it. So where that seasonal affective disorder comes in. But also, professionals have told me that it can ramp up in the spring, which I was interesting to me. And I said, tell me why. And they explained to me that with the weather elongating and the days getting longer, it activates some people. So they do see challenges around that time. And then holiday time, which is in the winter time too, a lot of stuff can come up.
And I think I'm not a mental health expert, but I've been involved. It's been passionate enough for me to be involved in. And I've seen anytime there's major changes in one's life, the instability or the change. So is that going from a school year to summer? Is that going from summer back into school? The holidays, seeing family. And as you said, all of a sudden we have long days, and in winter it's all of a sudden we have short days and no daylight.
Everyone's different, but there is always a catalyst, and sometimes it is a change. And it can be a really hard change, like maybe a death in the family or a divorce, but it could also be a really great time, like maybe a new kid, you have a new sibling who joins the family, a new baby, the whole dynamic changes.
And I think part of that is being able to have the strength to realize I might be in a bad place, or one of my loved ones is in a bad place.
Yeah.
And to be able to reach out and say, help, I need some help, or do you have some resources? So how can people learn about No Shame on You and your different programs and or get help?
Yes, so definitely our website, www.noshameonyou, the letter U I always say, not Y-O-U. You can follow us also. We have a great social media presence on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we also have a YouTube channel that has a whole resource library of every presentation that we were able to record in the last 4 years. And online, we have a resource library that is free. You can get the guide I mentioned in the beginning for absolutely free, download it for free. We just want it in the hands of as many human beings as possible. We also have a podcast to share stories. That's one way. One of the number one ways to reduce stigma is by sharing stories. We have a blog and are always looking for guest blog writers. So if anyone listening is interested in contributing something, reach out. And really the whole mission is for people not to feel alone, and so they can access support.
Yeah. So are there like licensed therapists or that are doing these programming?
So we I'm
trying to understand.
We do not do therapy in our organization. However, our director of strategic initiatives is a licensed psychologist, Dr. Anat Geva, and she creates all of our evidence-based curriculum. So anything that we are creating is researched and evidence-based. They are coping tools and skills that will help. So she creates all of our lead authors, all of our resources, and any kind of educational presentation that we do. Okay. We have a couple support groups at this time that have been with us for a long time, and those are led by mental health professionals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's primarily workshops, would you say? Like you're going into schools and you're doing workshops and getting the students involved and to understand that there is no shame on you.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really an education.
Okay.
A lot of education and outreach, which is so important.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do a lightning round.
Excellent.
All right. In the morning, coffee or tea?
Coffee, straight up, black.
Straight up black. Oh.
And cold.
Oh, and cold.
It has to be cold, even in days like today, because it goes down quickly.
Uh-huh.
And
so is it 1 cup or more?
One.
Okay.
Okay.
One.
All right.
1 cup of iced coffee.
How do you make a long winter day go smoother and better?
I dress for the weather. I try to dress for the weather and stay active. That's
Okay.
one little trick.
Okay.
Okay. A phrase you wish people would stop saying about mental health.
Things like take a chill pill or my boyfriend's so psycho, and just be a little more sensitive and aware that that could be something that would stop someone from wanting to talk about it.
A small joy that reliably always increases and betters your mood.
Chopping things. I like to cook. So I'd like a good chop, whether it's garlic or onion.
Oh.
Excellent.
Doesn't matter. Maybe
Okay.
celery.
Will you come to my house? Okay. One word you want people to associate with mental health conversations.
Elevate.
I love it.
Yes.
Ending on a positive note.
Yes.
There's hope.
Yes. Yes.
And with hope, and if you feel down on your luck or a loved one, reach out to No Shame on You and or Wendy and learn more about her organization.
We'll have all of your contact information.
Thank you for
on our
joining
show
us.
notes. Yes.
Thank you for
so
having
much
me, and
coming.
thank you
You're
for
welcome.
doing this. And
It's important. We
Yeah.
have to eliminate the stigma of mental health and mental illness and bring awareness to it. And I think the more we talk about it, the less people will feel isolated.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for tuning in. Come back next week for another episode of
Help. Nobody told me.